Hello beauties, and welcome back to the Bumpy Bones Locksport channel. Now, I want to start my video series for my tips for beginning lockpickers, and I want to talk about lockpicks in my first video. Now, I've already created a video that goes through my entire lockpick collection, so I want to focus more on lockpick design in this video. And I want to focus on the considerations that a beginning lockpicker might have. Then I'll talk a bit about the lockpick sets I started with, why I picked them, what I like and don't like about them, and I'll also kind of share my recommendations of them as well. Now, choosing your first lockpick set is really challenging. There are so many great brands out there, but the quality of the tool has a major impact on the experience that you'll have in lockpicking and Locksport. And there are three main things I think are important for you to consider, and all three of these are equally important, so you really need to consider them all in balance. So you got cost, design, and pick material. So with the cost, Locksport and lockpicking can be a very costly hobby. Some of these pick sets can be hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Then you have to get the locks that you want to pick open, especially when you go to like the higher belt level locks or some of the specialty locks. Those can be expensive, and so it can be a costly sport. But you don't need to go all out at the start. There are some really good starting sets out there that are under $10. But the quality of the tool is really important because that really does impact the experience. And then you'll have the design of the lockpick. And I'll talk about the design in a little bit as I'm showing some of the sets here. Um, and then you also then have the pick material. Now, that is really important because that's going to really, good quality material is going to last. Now, on the flip side of that, good quality material can be a little bit more expensive. So again, you need to balance the cost of that. But I highly recommend finding picks that are 301 high diode stainless steel. Covert Instruments all lock tools, for example, uses that material. There's spring steel, which multi-pick uses, and then there's 301 cold max steel that Sparrow uses. Now, Sparrow lockpicks are definitely kind of one of the more debated. That you either like them or you don't like them. They use the 301 cold max steel, and it's a good quality steel, but it does have a problem because it is treated with cold. And when you have that type of treatment with a metal, if there's imperfections or if something goes wrong in the treatment of the metal, you can cause microfractures, you can cause some issues with it that can cause failures. And so it's a little bit more risky of a metal to use, but if you get a good product or good quality metal from it that doesn't have the imperfections or was treated properly, it is a very high strength metal. So I do recommend some of their locks as well. So let me go ahead and get talking about some of the individual locks here or sets here and what I started with and how I progressed through them. So I started with these cheap Chinese lockpick sets. Now, I do not recommend starting with these as a beginner. Um, and there's a couple reasons why. One, they are very, very thick. Much thicker than the standard lockpick. And so that's going to limit you in the locks that you can open with these. The other is it's crappy material. This is not going to last you long. I bought a set of these for 40 bucks, and I can get a much better set for under $10. And so I would not recommend going with them. You can open up the acrylic lock with them, but beyond that, there's not a lot of uses for them. So I do not recommend as a beginning lock picker to go with one of these sets. In fact, I'm going to throw that pick out right now. So where I recommend people to begin is the Covert Instruments FNG set. Now, that wasn't available when I was buying lockpicks, but what that is you get two picks. You get the short hook and you get the 5-point rake, and you get the bottom of the keyway 40 thousandths turner. And you get these for $9.50 is the general price, and it's on sale as of the date of this video for $8. And you get a clear acrylic lock with it. But for under $10, you get two high quality picks, a really great turner, and there have been people who have opened up a lot of high level locks with these tools, and these will last you. I highly recommend if your budget is a major factor in choosing what to start with as a beginner. I highly recommend starting with the FNG set because it's going to last you. Stepping up from there, you have the Covert Genesis set, and that is the same picks that you get in the FNG, but you get the medium hook and you get a 4-point rake. Now, all these are in the 25 thousandths thickness, so you can open up a lot of locks with it. And then you get the other turners that are the 30 thousandths and the 50 thousandths turners, bottom of the keyway turners. And these are some of the best turners that I have in my collection. I use these a lot. So I recommend that. The Genesis, oh yeah, and then you also get a good case. It's a good small case. It doesn't fit, a ton of picks, but it fits everything with the Genesis set in here really good. It's magnetic and it fits in the pocket. It's a good case, and that costs $28. So it's not that bad of a price for a high quality set. Now you can bundle that with the Covert Instrument Practice Lock, which I would recommend doing. It does raise the cost to $65, but this is a 4-pin Schlage cylinder. It's a good quality cylinder, and they've got it so that you can easily repin it, and it comes with pinning materials and all that. It's a good deal for $70 or $65. Now, the other thing that I would recommend as an add-on for the Genesis set, and again, this is an add-on. There are items in this set that I think really complement the Genesis set really well that I would recommend for a beginner, and there are items in the set that I don't recommend for a beginner. But the three things, so I'm talking about the Echelon set, and there are three things that I recommend the Echelon set for. One are the turners. You get the top of the keyway turners with it. You get, which I think are really good quality turners. I use these turners a lot. I'm starting to use the lock tools a bit more, but these are turning top of the keyway turners that I grab the most. And you also get an ergonomic top of the keyway turner with it. So, I highly recommend those. You also get the same picks that you get in the Genesis set. I'm trying to grab them here. I'm having a bit of a hard time with my fingers there. There we go. But you get them in the 20 thousandths range. And having the two different sizes of lockpicks was really important for me as a beginner because as I was working in like Schlage or keyways that were a little bit tighter, having that slightly thinner lockpick was made a big difference for me. And then the excuse me, the third reason that I would recommend the Echelon set is you get another rake with it. You get a twin peak rake, which I'm going to be completely honest, I am terrible at raking. I'm still trying to learn that. It's one of the skills that I'm having the most trouble with. But I have a lot of success with the twin peak rake from the Echelon set. And then you get the gentle reach pick, which is really good for high-low bidding, especially if you have high-low at the back of the lock. And this is a pick that I would definitely recommend having in your collection. And that's really kind of like the big, if you're going to hold me down and say, what set do I recommend to people? The Covert Instruments is definitely the set that I would recommend. Now, on top of that, there's one other set that I have on my must recommend list for beginners. In some ways, this is on my must have list. And that is the Sparrow Genesis set. Now, the not Sparrow Genesis, what am I talking about? The Sparrow's Monkey Paw set. Sorry about that. Now, I recommend getting all of them because having the different widths of them is really handy. And these are the picks that I probably grab the most. So you got the 25 thousandths, you've got the 20 thousandths, and then you've got the 15 thousandths width. And you get 4 picks in total for those widths. You have a shallow hook, a short hook, a medium hook, and a deep hook with them. Now, the one problem that I have with them is the way that the handle is constructed. Now, with the handles, and I forgot to mention this with the Covert Instruments, Covert Instruments uses a sandwich or popsicle style handle on it. So you have a full tane pick, and you've got the scales on either side, which bulks up the handle and makes it easier to handle. Sparrows, however, will sell their picks either without a handle, which I don't recommend for pickers, for beginning pickers, because trying to get the feedback, manipulate just this thin piece of metal, it can be rather difficult. It's better having the handle on it, getting a better grip on it. I don't recommend picks without handles. The only exception I have to that is the monkey paws, because Sparrow drives me crazy. They have options with thermal handles on them, and this isn't that bad of a handle. I like it, I can use it, but they don't offer it on all of their picks. And the monkey paws are one of those that they don't offer them all on. You can get it on the 25 thousandths standard hook or short hook, but none of the expansions or none of the other sizes have that option of getting the thermal handle on. I don't know why Sparrows doesn't offer that more consistently, but this would be the one exception to that rule that I have of not recommending picks without handles on them. And then if you're looking for other picks that have more profile or pick sets that have more profiles, then the Covert Instruments, because Covert Instruments, while they're good, they are limited. You know, you only have the 2 hooks, and you only have the 3 rakes, and well, technically 4 hooks, or 3 hooks, and all that. And there are a lot more profiles out there, and so with Sparrows, you know, I recommend the Wizwazzle set. It is $65. Now, this isn't all Wizwazzle. This is a mix of Wizwazzle and Monstrum. Um, and you get a lot of good pick profiles in standard pick profiles in the Wizwazzle set. If you're working like with Euro cylinders in that, I would recommend the Monstrum. That goes for another, let's see here, I would say $65 as well. And you get a lot of profiles that are good for like a Euro cylinder style lock and all that. So, you know, as you're progressing or depending on the type or, you know, what type of picks you're looking for, either one of those sets are really good. And those sets also come with probably the best case that I have encountered. You know, the Sherman case with Sparrows is probably one of the best lockpicking cases that I've got. I can fit my entire lockpick collection in one of these when I travel. So those are the main ones I recommend. You know, if you've got money and money is not a consideration, I do recommend Locklaw tools. And there we go again. I do apologize, Law Lock tools. I keep mixing that up for some reason in my videos, and I hate it when I do that. So Law Lock tools is a really good brand, but they're a little bit pricey. One of their sets goes for about $200 in US. And also, if you're in the US, you also have to consider the shipping and the added tax for the shipping and all that. But to me, they're worth it because of that design. And that is the one thing I did also want to kind of mention at the end of my video here is accessibility with all these picks. You know, when I'm really hurting, so like right now my hands and wrist is really hurting me and all that, I can't really utilize these style picks. And these style picks are, you know, a very common style out there, multi-pick, bare bones. A lot of manufacturers do this style of a pick. But I found these wall lock tools here, and the design of the handle is wonderful. I can utilize this pick even if I'm hurting. So that is something that if you do have a disability or are looking for picks that you can use with arthritis and that, you know, you do want to consider that. What I kind of don't recommend beginners go to is the Covert Compainion. I did get this right away, and I'm mixed and recommending this to beginners because of a couple of things. One, it's a very wide handle. Now, for me, that's great because, again, that wide handle, when I'm hurting, I can hold this. And the other reason is when you are picking with it, you have to hold it in a pistol grip, which is a very different grip and which requires different angling And the feedback is a little bit different with it. So for me, while it is a great tool when I'm herding and I use it a lot, it's a very different style of picking. And when you're beginning, I don't recommend kind of jumping back and forth between the two because that's kind of doubling the way that you're trying to learn it. And a lot of picking is, in my opinion, muscle memory too, and trying to learn the feedback, know what the feeling of it is like. And so when you're jumping between picks that are of different design and handling completely, it offers a different challenge and all that. So you're almost beginning from scratch again. So like when I got started using the wall lock tools, I had to kind of start from beginning again because it's a different hold than this one, so the feedback is a bit different. So you really have to consider all of that when you're looking at your lockpick step. Alright, well I hope everyone found this video to be useful. If you liked the video, do feel free to like and comment on it. I am hoping to record some more videos in the future. I want to do one on tensioning. I want to do another one on practice locks. If there's anything that you think might be make a good video, do feel free to leave it in the comments and I'll see what I can do. So I hope you all like this video and I hope everyone has a beautiful day and I will see you all later.